so that type of thing. So it happens quite a lot here in Lincoln County, and it seems like it happens an awful lot with my client. And they do eventually mostly get dismissed. And the other thing I want to say is all these defendants turn themselves in.
Thank you, sir. State, is that understanding of the state as well?
I mean, I was here when all three, and I recall, at least I believe they all three did turn themselves in. I know that it wasn't initially, I think, Mr. Green had, I think there was some time period in between when they knew it was arrested, when they turned it. But in fairness, as I recall, I was here that day. They all three came up and were arraigned, and I believe Dale was actually here the day that Jennifer turned herself in, and the other two defendants were here, and I believe they were unrepresented by counsel because I actually went back and participated to some degree in the bond hearings, not. So, but as the police ultimately, judging a relatively short time after the incident, they did. I think Dale had talked to, maybe even talked to the police down there and said they were going to come up here, and they showed up within a half hour or so within the time that they were going to be here. So, I think in fairness, he's probably pretty well correct there.
Okay. All right, Mr. David, do you have any objection to the court taking judicial notice of any criminal history?
No, I don't have any objection to that, Judge, as long as the court doesn't adopt certain Capital County judges' theories that where there's smoke, there's fire. When they see just a record of arrests.
Well, okay.
There are.
I can let everybody know here that I can remember having all three of these people in my court at some point in time or another. But to be honest with you, I can also remember that some, if not all, have been on plaintiff's side or the victim's side of certain circumstances. Right. So I'd certainly like to be able to distinguish so that I don't hold things accountable one way versus another. That's another thing. Mr. Walsh, you have any objection?
I don't, Your Honor, and since everybody else is getting a little ad lib here, I forgot to add in my colloquy before, is that at least one of these co-defendants indicate that my client had nothing to do with these alleged crimes. Not to really get into the facts of this, but at least one co-defendant, I think, is at least indicated that.
Okay. All right, well, given those circumstances, I think that goes into the formula that comes from Gibbs. And I'm happy to receive it within that same context. All right, then. What I'd like to do then is, and let me ask Officer Hensley, when are we talking about there being transportation for these guys?
I'm not sure. We have four more back there waiting to see you, so I'll be here for a little while probably.
All right. Well, what I'd like to do then is, before I issue a decision, get some feel for an NCIC report or a CIB report having to do with past criminal history, et cetera, and be able to distinguish those matters where arrests are alleged versus convictions and what the basis of any convictions, et cetera, would have been for. Okay? All right. And that being the case then, now to help put things in further perspective, I believe that the matters that have been outlined here on the record, because now Mr. Green's client is $300,000 bond, is that correct?
Yeah, it's three $100,000 bonds is the way they've got it, and it says surety. I mistakenly put surety and property in there, and it doesn't say property.
It's okay. It's all right. And yours, Mr.
Same.
David? Same?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Wallace, yours?
Same, Your Honor.
Well, I'm telling you now, I'm going to be lowering these bonds. Now, the distinction about how much I lower them to is going to be dependent on some other factors that come directly out of Gibbs and Johnson. Okay? And I appreciate the fact that it's my understanding that everybody's volunteered here for home incarceration, because that's probably going to be required in the bond issue. Okay? But, and I'll try to get everybody an answer before they leave here today as to what can be done and what can't be done. But a substantial part of that is going to be how quickly I can assimilate this information. All right? Let's see. Mr. Prosecutor, is there anything else?
Not this time, George.
Let's see. Mr. Navy, anything else?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Green, anything else?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Wallace, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. These matters are now taken under review. Thank you.